Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very, very special client of ours coming in today for a very special episode. His name is Mohammed. He's done $2.2 million from zero to $2.2 million in just 10 months. And he has over $400,000 worth of revenue that he is going to be collecting over the next few months. So this episode is amazing. This is why we do what we do. This is every single day why we wake up, why we have launched my agency in a place where we can give to our clients the systems, the process, the proven team, and kind of like the coaching and the mentoring behind it. And this person here is a phenomenal human being and actually a very good friend of mine. Like we've known each other, what, 10 years, maybe more.
Longer than that.
Longer
We
than that.
were childhood best. We were friends. We grew up
Yeah, we grew up together. So we used to live on the same street, right? In San Diego.
Same street.
So whoever's watching this, Muhammad is one of the very few people who, when I was first starting off, right, when I was first starting off at my digital marketing agency, he was the only guy who was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, can you help me out? What's kind of going on? Give me some advice. I want to start my own thing. Whereas most of the other people, right, in our circle, they were talking bad. They were like, oh, you guys think you're better than us. We're not like all these negative false beliefs and limiting mindsets, right? So we're going to get really deep today, with our special guest here. So without further ado, Mohammed, welcome.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for having me, my brother. Long overdue. I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad that you have had me come on.
100%. Let's take it back, man. Let's take it back to a little bit about yourself, who you were, kind of like maybe even growing up. Why did you decide to go into like the online business world and stuff like that? Let's take it back.
Okay, so I remember. So I went the traditional college route, but like even when I was younger, I've always liked freedom, and I've always liked autonomy ever
Mm,
since I was young. And I did the college route. I got my degree at St. Cloud State in finance, and I was working, but then I was still like in this box. I don't know, this like mental prison. It wasn't that I was thinking ahead, but it was just like I was like, okay, I'm receiving a salary. Like this is limited. I might receive a nice salary. I might have a nice apartment, but I can't control my time. I can't control my destiny. I can't control my fate.
mm,
And the biggest thing that I've always wanted to get into business was I knew money was gonna come because I'm very passionate. We're very intelligent. I needed freedom and I needed autonomy. And I remember when we first started the business, I was living in downtown Minneapolis. I had just gotten like I financed a car. I had a lot of bills. I remember when my business partner said, "Yo, we should we should do something." I left
mm.
everything.
Really?
And it's like it's believing in yourself before there's a result.
Like your previous life, is that what you're saying? Like everything that you had before, you were like, oh, you drew the line in the sand and said, you know what?
Yeah, it was like you're absolutely right. That was my line in the sand.
Mm,
That was my line in the sand. I was like, something has to change. Something has to change because sometimes when you want to do something and then you talk to the people around you, talk to your friends, and it sometimes it becomes isolating because you're like, why am I the only person thinking like this? So that's when I would remember when the phone calls when I would reach out to you and say like and then talking to you would validate what I was going through in my journey because being a visionary is isolating, as you well know, and being building something from the ground up, there's not a lot of people in our age group, the people that we grew up with, that can relate to our aspirations and what we're building and where we're going.
I mean, man, we come from the bottom of the bottom, right? Living, I mean, food stamps, Section 8,
Hey, oh my God, madrasa, bro.
right? So like a lot of government help as well. I mean, were you born here? Were you like,
I came to the United States when I was 7 years old.
wow? So you're, I mean, refugee,
I mean, I came under a refugee status, absolutely. So
a refugee to 2.2 million in 10 months. If you can do it, I mean, what are the excuses? Who are the people who are watching this? Like,
there's there is no excuses. When you're going through it, there are times in the journey where you're gonna doubt yourself. The doubt. 'Cause I would the doubt comes,
Mm,
but like, the only thing that can get rid of the doubt, that limits the doubt, is putting in as much work as you can, knowing that you did enough for that day. I remember, like, there were some days that when we were just starting out, and you're not seeing the result, but you're putting in that effort,
mm.
and then it's like you're digging, and you're like, "You know, I know it's gonna click. I know." I remember Zarar, we would always talk about the 10,000 hours.
Yeah, 100%. 10,000 hours for the people watching this really is if you want to master a specific skill set, if you want to master an area of business or personal life, anything, there is a 10,000 hour period you have to put in to get that black belt.
And that 10,000 hours was like doing what I did with my degree, doing what I did before, and then jumping into what I was doing. It was the best thing that I could have done. It was the absolute, because that 10,000
Mm,
hours not only gave me the confidence, but it also gave me that, you know what? I can do this. It's just that relentless drive. There's some days you're gonna wake up with anxiety. You're gonna have a pit in your stomach. You're gonna say, "Oh my God, how do I push this?" Coming from where we come from, coming from where I come from, it's like I can't regress. It's like this forward. It's like this motor that it's like I might not get a feet today, but I got to get an inch. I just can't fall back. So
mm.
it was a lot of planning, and I've been lucky to work with some of the best people. I've been lucky. Me, like, growing up, that there was always these certain kinds of people that they would limit their social circle, limit who they interacted with. And I don't think that's a problem I've ever had. I talk to everybody, regardless of where they are, whether from the janitor to the CEO, it doesn't matter. And just by being open minded and open to different experiences and treating everybody with decency, respect. Even right now in Portland, I was living in the Central East Side, right? And just by being courteous, by holding a door for somebody, by asking how your day was, just quick chats in the elevator, that helped open up my business even further, because you never know who you're speaking to. You never know who you're in front of.
Can we go a little bit deeper on that, right? Because what my experience has been, and you know, like when we grew up, right? We grew up with people, family members saying, "Oh my God, rich people are bad. They're evil. They're," and what they're looking at is the smallest little subset of people who were not even self-made, right? Because if you're going to be self-made, you can't be a bad person, really. Like you, and sure, there are some psychopaths, there's some sociopaths out there, but the majority of the people that we know now, and let me know your experience, they are amazing human beings. Good, kind hearted, good morals, good ethics. You want to talk a little bit on that?
Absolutely. So I'll just give an example. I met this guy when like, just an example. You're right. Based on how we grew up, that they would say, stay away from these people, stay away from that people. And looking back on them, where our parents came from, it was more of a self-defense mechanism. They were but if you are going to be self-made, most of the people I've met have been the kindest, have been willing to help, have been willing to connect me with people that I didn't even ask to be connected with. Just because, to be self-made, coming from the bottom and aspiring, if you're self-made, you know what it takes to be self-made. You're not gonna be rude to people. You're not gonna be an asshole. You're gonna have your morals are gonna be intact. Because I remember that there's this book I read, and I had a good friend recommend it to me. It was The Four Agreements. Zora is the guy that recommended me that book. And I swear to God, I met this guy that was working at oil rigs. He was an oil engineer. And he now works for Exxon, one of the one of the big guys out there. And the way that I met him was just cordial. I remember the first day that I met him in the elevator, I opened the door. Like, so I spent about 10 years in Minnesota, so we're very Minnesota nice. We're very So I opened the door for him, and after that we just started talking. And then I remember there was a time when I needed a business lawyer. I didn't even ask, and he just hooked me up with it. And he was like, "Yo, I have a really good business lawyer." And he would give me advice. Like, so I'm kind of an insomniac, so I would be at the gym like 12 in the morning, because sometimes I can't sleep. I'm always oh, it's sometimes when you're always on the go, it's hard to shut off your mind. So I'll try to get a workout. You know who would always be at that gym?
That guy?
That same guy.
Ah. Small world, man.
Small world. And me and him became friends not because I needed anything from him. It was just common decency, courtesy. He saw something in me. Me and that guy weren't from the same place. We weren't from the same. I'm Muslim. He was Jewish. I'm Somali descent. He was European. We have not lived. We've lived completely separate
Mm-hmm.
lives. But when I would talk to him, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's just like me. When we talk about our family dynamics, what we're going on in our personal lives, it was just, and that situation really opened my eyes. It's like, yo, it doesn't matter what people like. It doesn't matter. Like, I had to break out of the beliefs that were instilled in me in childhood about other people. I had to learn that, yo, we're all humans, and there is value that can be extracted for anybody, whether you're working the front desk, whether there's a receptionist,
Yeah.
whether you're dealing with the CEO, whether you're dealing with the janitor. Treat people with courtesy, respect, be kind. There's this thing where people think is, yo, this is a doggy dog eat world. You gotta be ruthless, you gotta be vicious. But I'm telling you, you get further along by being authentic to yourself, being open hearted, being kind. Because that's energy. That's energy. The way you treat people is energy, regardless of their station.
Yeah. This conversation we're having, right? I think maybe the viewers watching, you guys may be like, what about the strategies and like the tactics? And that stuff is secondary. Trust me. Like one of the biggest things that I realized when I was like trying to make it out as well, right? I thought that successful people, they just know something, that this little tactic, that, oh my God, it's the golden crutch or it's the golden nuclear button but there's nothing. It's who you are, right? It's, you got to pour into yourself. So as you guys see, the conversation has shifted from like the little tactic, oh, let's launch these Facebook ads, let's get these leads, let's close these deals. No, it's the person, it's who you are as a human being that is going to allow you to scale into whatever revenues that you want to make. I mean, there's a reason why you did 2.2 million in 10 months is because of the human being that you are, right? I'm not going to take all the credit, of course, right? Of course, we had a couple calls, launched my agency and the team helped you a little bit.
Absolutely.
But it's up to you. You're the one who showed up. You're the one who did the things that you needed to do, right?
Absolutely.
So real quick, while we're on the subject, right? Because, we do these videos. Sometimes people are like, money. Like sometimes they're just so fixated, like, money, where's the money? How much? Well, this guy's done 2.2 mil in 10 months using some of our systems. What is projections? Let me ask you this. What are the projections, just revenue wise, this year?
2025, we're looking at about 4.2, 4.3.
4.2 million in 2025?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. You went from zero, right? Like you were not handed a golden, I mean, we talked about it already, from food stamps, Section 8. Section 8. And I think you have like a family business too now, right? I think your sister, your brother.
Oh my God. My sister, so we do like my brother's also launching a business.
Wow.
My younger brother's also launching a business. So it's kind of crazy, like, and it's not crazy, it's interesting, it's beautiful. It's like when when a group of people in the family decide to put their all into something, because there's power in family.
Massive.
There is an undeniable power in family. And my sister is like my hero. Shout out to Faith. She is like my hero. She is one of the most hardest working individuals I've ever seen. If there is the definition of a go-getter and a giver, I still have yet to meet somebody who goes as hard as her and who also gives as much. So it's kind of trickled down, and now it's like, now everybody in the family, it's like, you know what? Things are getting interesting. The cousins are like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
I've been doing consulting for this long. I'm not getting anything out."
Yeah, they're like, hey, do you have a job opening, or are you hiring? Right? They all come in.
They all start coming, and people start perceiving you different, even though you're the same person.
Let's talk about that. The shift. I mean, for me, I can speak for myself, right? I remember it's like being invisible. You're invisible to the men, the women, everyone. Is like, you're just like, because you don't bring any value yet, right? When you're in your phase. But once you start making millions of dollars, once you start being successful, Man, the phone will never stop ringing.
I changed my phone number.
So you took it to the next step. You want to talk a little bit about the transition of like going from kind of like being a nobody, like nothing, useless, to being so useful that people are calling you for problems that you're like, I don't even know how to solve it, but I mean, I appreciate you reaching out. Let's see what we can do. Right? You become this valuable human being because of who you are. How was your experience on that?
Yeah, it was very humbling. And I like when you're in your phase, when you're in that, it's called the prep stage. It's like before you step on, and you're just you're invisible, and then it's like suddenly it comes, and then for me, I'm gonna be completely honest. For me, I was in the prepping stage for so long, and that when I did get to the stage, I was just like, okay, what's next? I just gotta stop grinding. Everybody leave me alone. But then I realized when I was doing that, when I was just like, everybody leave me alone, I was just like, no, that's not the right way to do it. Because there was people that came before me, people like you, that picked up those phone calls. They were like, oh, so it's it's about this balancing act. It's about also protecting your energy because my mom always used to say you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Mm.
Your circle, your circle is directly tied to your net worth and the value that you bring. This is fact. This is undeniable. And when I did get to the stage, there was when my mindset changed because it's a complete, as you can attest to that, it's a complete mind switch.
Oh yeah. Going from taking instructions from everyone. When you go to school, you're taking instruction. When you go to work, you're taking instructions. To now, this is your business. You are the company owner. You're the company CEO. It's your responsibility. Now, of course, you can have a team, and that's one of the things that we do at Launch My Agency is just give you access. 50 full-time employees, just use them, you know? And just like you yourself as well, you leveraged that. You hopped on calls with myself, with my team, and I'm sure
Absolutely.
that had a little bit of play to do with it, right? How was that?
It was a game changer having access to your team, having those specialized individuals that help was invaluable. It was completely invaluable.
Hmm.
And just having access to your team, having access to your systems, having access to your like, okay, I've ran into this obstacle. Let me talk to the team. Let's see what they think about it.
Yeah.
So it's been a blessing. It's been exciting, but this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning, guys. 4.2 mil this year. Yeah, yeah, it's nothing.
No, it's the beginning. It's the beginning. Like Zarar, you're a visionary, as you can like I'm not planning for the next 2 years. Like I got like 10 years. This is what I want to do in 10 years. This is what I want to do in 20 years.
Mhm.
It's it's long term thinking. It's like, okay, how do I consolidate this? How do I expand? How do I it's just once also I think that what the viewers I want to get like when like the one thing I want to tell people is don't celebrate too early.
Mm. Okay.
Don't celebrate too early. Don't celebrate too early. Keep going. Don't change what got you to the party. Like once once you reach what number you like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that say, okay, I want to do this number. I want to be able to work anywhere I want. As you should. That's the whole point of being an owner, having a team in place. But the one thing that I want to advise people on is just don't celebrate too early. That hunger that got you to where you wanted to be, keep that
Mm.
hunger.
I love it, man. I think a lot of people when they first get their first six figures a year, right? Which in this
Yeah.
space is so easy to do. Like
Hmm.
it's kind of like you can do it in your sleep if you choose to. They kind of get comfortable. You know, they start to maybe start traveling all the time, not working on their business, and that's okay, by the way. Like if you want to live a lifestyle business, all the power to you. Completely. There's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. And then there's some people who are like, hey, I want to get my agency to a level where I want to sell it. I want to have a 7-figure, even an 8-figure exit. One of our clients actually, $13 million exit that he had with his agency. And we worked with him for like 2.5 years. $13
Man,
million. Young guy too, 22 years old. You know?
beautiful.
Right? He has like 6 cars now. Like he's just living the life, you
He's
know?
living.
But that was his goal, right? And I'm no one, and Muhammad is no one to tell you what goals you should have. You could be like, hey, I want to make 100K a year, and that's it. Call it a day. Cool beans. You can, but just don't lose that drive and don't lose that passion. Don't get lazy. Which is why we also recommend like one of the most important things to do is pick the niche that you like, that you have a little bit of passion on. Work in something that you have some sort of passion, because as the going gets hard, and that's gonna happen, right? It's always ups and downs. You don't want to quit, right? And your passion will kind of like force you to be like, you know what, let me stay steadfast, and you'll achieve whatever you're trying to hit. But Mohammed, thank you very much, man, for your time. I know it's a Saturday. I think the viewers got a lot of value. This was a very, very special kind of episode. I would like to ask you though, man, what would you say to someone who's maybe like kind of like on the fence of joining, launch my agency, working with myself, my 8-figure team, but they want to, but they're kind of like, I don't know, should I not? What would you say to them?
Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
Ooh,
Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep.
I've never heard that one before. Wow, I got goosebumps, man. Wow.
A mile wide and an inch deep. Sometimes you're thinking, oh wow, I would recommend fear. Fear is like one of the biggest roadblocks that you're gonna have to get over. And that's why I always remind myself. I have that written on my whiteboard in my room. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. Because once you step in and start going, you're like, oh, I can do this. The thing that gave me confidence was seeing people that I grew up with make it. Not every, as Zara can attest, not everybody that we grew up is thinking like we think or is doing what we do, but it's recognizing that, okay, I know he did it. Why can't I? Like, it's self-belief. And that's, if anything, that's what I want to leave with you guys. A mile wide and an inch deep. Because once you start going, once you start using the amazing team at Launch My Agency, you're gonna realize, oh my God, like they've put the systems in place. Like they have the team for this. Like it's the experience has been invaluable. Working with the team has been amazing. Working with you, Zara, we're friends, but even working with you, like the advice, like the phone calls, like all that is useful. And I want to leave that with you. It's a mile wide and an inch deep.
Wow, man. This is insane. And I think you're gonna get to a level where 8 figures, no problem. Maybe next year, 2026 would be like that, and maybe we can check back in. But this is guys why we do what we do. This is why we show up every single day. We give our clients the best possible experience that we can. We've done this over and over and over again. Literally, I had 2 people right before you as well. Similar situations, came from zero. Have crushed it in this space. And maybe the people watching, you're like, is it that easy? Well, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's simple. We have a proven system, a proven process, right? We've done it for hundreds and hundreds of other people overall who have combined to make over $100 million with their own digital marketing agencies and stuff. So as long as you do the things we ask you to, you'll get the goals that you want, right? We can't force you to do anything, but what you can get with us is literally the step-by-step game plan on exactly what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and the golden keys to the castle, just like Mohammed here, man. Like this is, I don't know, I don't even have the words to explain of how happy and how proud I am. Like I remember us just being little kids. We used to play Call of Duty, Madden, remember?
Yeah, those were intense games.
We were competitive, man, back then, and then we just took that same level and just brought it to business. And by the way, his sister, I just want to say something. I remember being so scared sitting in the car with her. She used to drive like a maniac. I don't know if she still does.
She totaled my car. I don't know if you remember. She totaled my Volkswagen Jetta.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll never forget. I'm like, man, she would drive crazy. But it's just her passion, right? Just like you said, she's a very passionate.
One of the most passionate people I've ever met. She's like an engine. She's like an 800 horsepower engine. She just doesn't stop.
Wow. Amazing, man. Well, dude, yeah, I'll leave you to that. Thank you again for your time. And
No worries. It was a pleasure being on here.
I'm sure the viewers would get a lot of value from this episode.
I hope they do, but I just want to leave them. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. You got to step in.
So if you're on the edge of joining Launch My Agency, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. What's the worst that can happen? Ask yourself that. What's the worst that can happen? It's your decision, though. So I'll just leave you to that. And thank you very much again. Take care, bro.